Good day, podcast community. We're on the Senior Living Podcast, and we have a senior living specialist. And we're really excited to have her on our show today because I was looking at some things before the show, and I think you're going to be impressed when you hear her story. So, Adrienne, introduce who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Okay. Well, I am Adrienne Peppler, president of Smooth Move Senior Relocation Services, and we are a downsizing and relocation company dedicated to serving seniors. Um, that's our niche. Started this back in 2002, so I've been doing it for quite a little while. And we do everything that's needed when it comes time to downsize and relocate. So here's the elevator pitch: cleaning, clearing, sorting, organizing, packing, unpacking, room setup, hang the pictures, hang the drapes, make the beds, estate sales, auctions, antique appraisals, and estate sales. So, um,
It's great when you don't have to go searching everywhere for those pieces when you're moving, because moving is stressful. Downsizing is more stressful because if you've ever had a parent or a senior downsize, I was at Overture for almost 2 years. I would see the couch come in and the couch go out because somebody didn't measure. And it was like,
exactly.
and or when you walk in and you see, you know what, you can't fit a house in an apartment. It's just, it doesn't. So you have to start getting rid of things. What would you say now, starting out? I know it was based on your mom's move. What keeping this going? I had never heard of you, so I was really excited when I saw somebody focusing on seniors. So tell us the stories, the ones that haven't seen it. Give us a little idea how you got in the business.
Okay. Well, how I got into this, my history. I'm an ex corporate exec. I used to be director of operations for Blue Cross and Blue Shield and got downsized out of that. Went to Cigna Healthcare of Georgia, got downsized out of that. So, over 30 years of experience of running two national corporations. And so, after I got downsized the second time, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with corporate America. I'm done.
Yeah.
I need something that I can do on my own. And about that time is when my mom decided she was moving out of her house,
Mm-hmm.
and she was excited about moving. I'm originally from Detroit. And when I moved to Georgia, I brought the only grandchild, which was, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so she stayed down here until it was time for her to graduate high school. After she graduated high school, mom says, okay, y'all don't need me anymore. I'm going back to Detroit. And so she was excited about moving, but she wasn't doing anything. And so I thought she wasn't thinking it would be just physical, that, she would move the same way that I would. I thought she wasn't doing anything because of everything that was needed physically. I wasn't working at the time. I said, no worries, mom. I got you. I'll take care of everything. She got the biggest grin on her face and jumped up off that sofa, took her finger out, and started walking me through the house saying, I'm keeping this, I'm selling that, and I'm giving that away. That's when I knew why she wasn't doing anything. She didn't know where to start. She was just overwhelmed with
Mm-hmm.
where to start. And me, being naive, and look, I've been doing this so long, I went to the yellow pages. And most folks don't even know what the yellow pages is anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
went to the
You're
yellow
right.
pages looking for one company that could do everything,
Mm-hmm.
and there wasn't one. And so that's kind of how this got born, being an ex-exec and managing upwards of 800 employees, 15 different departments. Basically everything that customer service, or everything that touched a customer, is what I was responsible for. I didn't initially see a moving company. I saw a fragmented customer service delivery process to a
Mm-hmm.
fragile client.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. And then that's how this got born, because I wasn't going to have my mama or me working with 6 or 8 different companies to make all of this happen for her. So that's the short version of
Yeah,
how this
that's
happened.
a beautiful one. What would you say for our viewers out there? So, it's over 20 years, if my math is right.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first couple years like? Because you're putting everything together. There's so many decisions that have to be made by small business owner. What was that journey like the first couple years?
The first couple years, I really didn't know what I had. Like I said, I had enough of managing people, enough of corporate America. And so when I initially had the idea or the concept, I went to some of the bigger moving companies and said, can I manage just your senior moves? That's it, just your senior moves. You don't have to pay me. The senior will pay me. Every single one of them said, who cares about seniors?
Wow.
Yeah, every single one, because they're small moves. And
Right.
they were more focused on houses where that's where the big money was for them. And
Mhm.
so that's when I decided to, pull all this together and make it a company because, like I said, I care about seniors. I want to make sure that they're good. And so I said, okay, well, if they're not going to do this, I need to do this myself. And so for the first year or so, I did it as a volunteer,
Mhm.
just to help out the seniors in church. I
Mhm.
didn't really know what I had. And it didn't turn into a business until I got to exactly $1,500 left in my bank account. And I'm like, okay, I've got bills to pay.
Yeah.
If they're willing to, have me do this for them, then let's turn this into a company. So
Mhm.
and the first few years, the business just exploded. It
Mhm.
was just year over year, 30, 40, 50% growth. It just kind of exploded on me.
What would you say? I mean, that's a great journey when it comes to the growth. What was the team building like? Like, what was that challenge like when you're growing at that percentage? You obviously have to add more team members. So, what was that like for our viewers to get a better understanding?
The team building back at the time was great. My interview process was a little different. One of the questions that I would talk to them about is I would ask them, talk to me about your experience with a grandparent. Have are your grandparents alive? Did they raise you? Talk to me about a grandparent. But the first step in my interview process was always to have them come to my office or come to my location and meet with the receptionist, or not really meet. They were being interviewed but didn't know they were being interviewed.
Hmm.
And so my first opinion of them was how they interacted with my receptionist.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
they treated her like she was somebody special, then it was somebody special that I wanted to talk to. If
Hmm.
they treated her like she was insignificant, then the whole interview process took a totally different turn. And at the end of the interview, I always gave them homework.
Hmm.
I gave them homework.
Yes.
If they hadn't gone to the website, then, go to my website and, call me back. Let's talk about what you found out on the website, what you learned, and see what we can do to kind of help each other. But like I said, it was the hiring process back then is a lot different than it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say to a business owner today? Because I know what you're saying. Labor is challenging, and it's everywhere in every different segments. But you still have to build a team. You still have to motivate them. You still have to give them the empowerment, and you have to do things to keep that team together. What are you doing today versus a couple years ago with what you just shared with our viewers to keep that team going in the right direction?
Well, for one, everyone has clearly defined roles and responsibilities. There's clearly a leader on the each project that we do, and ongoing training and performance reviews, kind of a step back to what I used to do in corporate America.
Mhm.
You have to know what's expected of you in order to do it. And the other thing that I do too, that was part of the interview process that I forgot to share, is we do Myers-Briggs. They have to take a Myers-Briggs test and a dysbehavior test because, is it men are from Mars and women are from Venus?
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
probably one of the biggest hurdles I had was going from white collar to blue collar. The mentality was just the difference was just very eye opening for me. And so I had to learn how to speak their language. But basically just building teams, and we do things like go bowling and those kinds of things to build out the team, but make sure everybody knows what's expected of them and that they are valued, not that they're just here because they're breathing.
Right. Take me through your COVID journey from a business person's perspective, because everybody had to zigzag and do all kinds of different things to one, keep people, just everything. So how did you handle it as a business owner?
COVID was, I'm not sure what everybody else's experience or was, but for me it was a little different because when COVID hit, we were in the middle of a $1 million renovation project. Because in addition to doing the one-to-one moves, we also work with communities as they are renovating their properties. And this property had 200 apartments, which equal 400 moves for us. And so, yeah, it was, and it's not the first one. We've done that multiple times. Whenever, they will call in and we'll work with them on that. But it meant keeping hazmat suits, respirators, goggles, contracted with a company to go in and spray, for the COVID. And, it was just in the beginning, it was a little tricky. But because businesses were shutting down, COVID was not as much a challenge, only for that little period. What was it, like a month, when the governor shut down Georgia for maybe a month when they were still trying to figure it out? We weren't impacted as much. The downside was that we got busier because of the deaths. There were communities that were closing, or they had lost like 20 or 30 residents. And so we were busy, very busy during COVID once the governor opened everything up. But after, they figured everything out, we still had to wear masks and, protection. We didn't go full-blown hazmat suits or anything, but still just being more protected as we were going in and out, because we had to also protect our clients.
Wow, that's we all have those stories in the different businesses. Of course, we're different in how they were impacted. What would you tell our business owners out there? Because you have your team now. How do you? I mean, besides clearly defined roles, and I like the Myers-Briggs and this personality evaluations. What else could you share with us that you do to build a successful company?
Basically, just talking to folks, just not necessarily finding out, how their lives are going, but showing that you genuinely care. And being able to help. I've learned, like I said, the transition from white collar to blue collar, I've kind of become, the mom, the teacher, just, and I don't know if it's probably just me, but I kind of wrap my arms around them and let them know that I'm here for whatever may be going on with them, and just there for them, just more of a personal touch and show that I care.
Yeah. How, technology is moving really fast for businesses, and we're always having to adapt to how we can be delivering the most value. How are you using like AI? Have you embraced that? Are you, using it in some way that you could share with our viewers?
Well, I've been using AI more in communication, not for any of collaterals, but more in communication and marketing.
Okay.
Like emails and mailers and things of that sort. we've also, as far as technology goes, we of course have a customer relationship manager software. I was going to say CRM. We have that, which
Uh-huh.
also has some AI built into it. And
Okay.
so technology has been, really helpful for us because prior to AI and technology, everything was paper. And because we are regulated by the feds and the state of Georgia, there it just so much paperwork. I got bogged down, early on with so much paperwork that it
Mhm.
was just amazing. But now technology has moved a lot of that away.
Hmm. Are you doing it yourself, or do you like empower some of our younger generation to do something like that?
The young people, the young people are doing it. I have an amazing operations manager, Sylvia. She manages the you know the CRM. She
Mhm.
manages the social media. She does everything. She with the
Mhm.
dispatch lets me knows what's going on with the guys if there's something happening with them. So yeah, but right now my main duty is more marketing than
Mhm.
anything. Just getting out there and being the face.
So that's good because I'm uh, wherever I can, I pick up the phone. I'm not a texter, I'm not an emailer. I like to talk to people.
Yeah.
So, I'll be talking to my daughter and she'll be texting, and I'll just pick up the phone and just call her, because you don't get emotion in texts. You don't get emotion in emails. They are a form of communication. So when you say that you make that connection and you're talking to people and you're marketing, are you meaning your actual customers? Are you touching base with them? And are you giving that personal service to them?
Yes, it's both. It's a combination of both. And if we go back to text, I'm a two text person. One text for whatever, and then if you answer back, great. I'll respond in another text, and after that, I'm like you. I'm picking up the phone. We're
Mhm.
gonna talk. But yes, I do a lot of times personally meet with my clients because there are some who can't handle the technology. We do have technology that will let us, if need someone, if you need a quote, as an example, technology is there for us to give you a quote based on where you're going, where you're ending, and what you're taking so that you have an idea as to the cost. But then there are some that can't manage that. And I go out and I meet with them.
Mhm.
And I can create project plans, space plans, floor plans, interior design, and help them to be more comfortable in their new place because I've learned that the more it looks like home the first time that they see their new place, and you know this,
Yep.
the quicker that transition will be because the hardest, biggest move is the first one from the house
Yeah.
into the retirement community.
Yeah. No doubt. What would you say? I I see. I went on. I'll just encourage our viewers, go on and check out your website. And is it We Move Seniors? Is that the type out there?
Yeah.
Okay, it's beautiful, and I think I listened to Jay Cunningham from Superior Plumbing speak at a chamber event, and he was kind of going through the evolution of his branding, what he did. He didn't start out as big as he did.
Yeah.
At what point in your business did you put an emphasis on the branding? Because it's beautiful. Everything that I saw from a website to the videos to just the different things that people are going to touch. When did you start putting emphasis on that?
There is a story also behind the branding.
Uh-huh.
And so when I went to register the name, I wanted it to be Smooth Move. And of course, every mover in the world wants to be Smooth Move. Couldn't get the name I wanted. So I was talking to my sister-in-law, who's a graphic designer, and she
Uh-huh.
says, well, why don't you just put a few more O's in move? I said, okay. I was able to get the name I wanted. And she said, okay, well, now that you have all those O's in move, you got to have a cow as your logo. Otherwise, people will think you're stupid and you can't spell. And so, and so,
That's good.
yeah, so that's how the cow came to be.
Yeah.
The cow. And as far as the logo, that too, there was a story. Many years ago, Open from American Express had a contest, Make Mine $1 Million Business.
Yeah.
And just on a whim, I entered and I won.
Whoa.
Yeah, I won. And this was, many years ago, but I entered and I won because, again, I didn't know what I had. But
Yeah.
when American Express looked at the business and they said, this is $1 million business, I won. And part of winning was to get money, mentoring, and marketing. And
Wow.
so, yeah. And so once I got that money, I went to a marketing company, and that's how we refined the logo and all of that. It all came together. But
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't know what I had a hold of when I first started. I just wanted to help seniors.
That's a great story. You can't win if you don't get in the game. So, a lot of times you see these contests and people go, I can't win that thing. And they just basically, yeah, you're right. You can't
Yeah,
win. If you don't play, you can't. So
right. If you don't try, you don't.
yeah,
Well,
I
and
thought when I saw it, I was going, wow, because
yeah,
I'm a marketing person. I love branding. I love strategy. And so I always take my dyslexia and try to break it down. Like, how in the heck does somebody come up with this? And
yeah.
just admire the great branding. And then,
Well, thank you.
yeah, it absolutely is wonderful. And you see Chick-fil-A with the cow, and I saw that cow,
Yeah,
and oh my gosh.
yeah,
And then the smooth, I did pick
yeah.
up on that, but that was really unique and clever.
Yeah, well, someone once asked me, "Aren't you going to get sued by Chick-fil-A?" And I'm like, "Chick-fil-A doesn't own cows.
Yeah.
I can have as many cows as I want." And another story, we were running from a job from Florida
Yeah.
because, right, we do serve all of the Southeast. We were coming from a job in Florida many years ago and had a rental truck.
Uh-huh.
And we showed up. We were running late to the job here in Georgia. We showed up in a rental truck. Oh my goodness, this guy, he had a fit. He goes, I want the cow truck. I'm like, but we're here. We're on time. I want the cow truck. We had to return the rental and go get the cow truck before he would let us move him. He didn't care if his move was late. He wanted the cow truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool
Yeah.
and you can see how, people love, well, they like stories and they like cool branding because you give them a lot of stats of stuff, they don't remember it. But you give them something like Coca-Cola bottle, you give them these unique things, they remember it. And they
Yeah.
remember that because the mind works off of simple things. And so the easier and the simpler we make things, the better. So what would being 20 years in business, what advice would you give to a younger person like yourself, starting out, leaving corporate America, having those good skills? What would you give them as far as what would you have them focus on those first couple years?
Well, first off, and it's not new, but I would say don't do it unless you love it. Because as you know, it's a lot of time and energy and effort. When I first got started, I think I slept an average of maybe 4 or 5 hours a night
Mm-hmm.
because it takes a lot of time and effort to just get it started
Yeah.
and to really dig in. But that was back before technology. I couldn't tell you, with technology what it would take. I just know what it took when I first
Yeah.
started. But make sure it's something that you love and you want to do, because I see so many people try to get into the senior space,
Mm-hmm.
and they're here for maybe a year or two and they're gone. And
Yeah.
that tells me they're there just for the money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever it is, make sure it's something that you love and that you're going to stick with, because it's not going to be a quick turnover for you. You're going to have to put in the work.
Yeah, I like how you're sharing that with my seniors in the podcast community, because I won't mention names, but the team lead on the last move had the worst attitude I've ever seen. It was like I was troubling him to do my move. Like I was saying, like I told the owner, I said, look, I am paying him. I mean, attitude is so important. How
Mhm.
do you address that? Do you do that on the actual hiring process? Is that where you make sure you have that person with a great attitude?
Yes, I do, because my guys, and no move is perfect. If
Yeah.
something goes wrong, I tell my guys, get in front of it. If you scratch the table, get in front of the client and say, look, here, I scratched your table. We're going to take care of it. But my clients always say the guys had the greatest attitude.
Mhm.
And I tell my clients, when I'm talking to you, don't be shy. If you need us to take out the garbage, tell them to take out the garbage, run the vacuum. Don't be shy. So they always come with a great attitude. And it goes back to the interview process when we talk about the grandparent.
Mhm.
And I tell them, it doesn't have to be your grandparent or your loved one that you're working with, but this is someone's loved one, and you got to treat them like that. And they do.
Good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, in your business journey, did you find yourself, um, you always see like people, partners and stuff coming together to work and they had different skill sets. Did you have that journey that you had somebody that you could talk with and just express what's going on during your 20 plus years building the business?
I've never had a partner. It's
Mhm.
always been me, but I've had business coaches along the way, and that's the one thing I learned from American Express is that you can't do it all by yourself.
Mhm.
And so I've always sought out a sounding board, participated on various boards, but also, like I said, Sylvia, she's been with me now, I think probably maybe 10 years.
Mhm.
And she's also, a great sounding board for me so that we can figure things out.
Yeah, that's so, I like to tell people or share with them, get it out of your head because, it makes some sense in your head, but until you can get it out and talk, and the person would say, like, when you were talking about to, I think it was your niece that with the
Mhm.
the smooth with a couple
Yeah.
O's in it. Was that who it was? Your
Yeah.
niece?
That was my sister-in-law. Yes.
Oh, okay. But I
Yeah.
mean, you're thinking, but all of a sudden she's coming up with a solution because you're sharing what, I wanted to get this, but here, and then
Yeah.
leads you to the cow, and then all of a sudden the branding, and then somebody's not even moving you until you
Get
gets the
bring in the cow. Well,
cow.
and I call it, decision making overload. And I'm not shy about it. I will say, okay, I can't make any decisions today because there's just in running a business, there is just so much to do.
Yeah.
Not physically, it's just your brain is just constantly going. And so you do need to, like you said, let some of that out, share it, and then you do get caught up in your own little world where you think it can only be handled or resolved this way, but a different perspective. Someone else can give you a totally different perspective that you
Right.
didn't see.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Do you have any business books that you would recommend to our business owners that you found valuable for yourself?
It's kind of simple. But the one that I like the most is Purple Cow, and I can't think it's
Yeah, that's Seth Godin.
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Purple Cow. That's
Yeah.
the one that always comes top of mind. I
Yeah.
love it, and I even have a purple cow that sits on my desk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I see myself as the purple cow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was the purple cow back then, with the other movers who weren't interested. I even had truckers tell me, the guys on the big rigs, only a woman would put a cow on a truck. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
look, receive it, take it. That's
Oh
great.
yes,
Yeah.
but definitely purple cow because it takes you, it
Yeah.
helps you to get a different perspective, but also see other, versions or perspectives of different things.
Okay.
Oh, and
So,
also who ate my cheese? I like that one
oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. You got to be ready for change because it's
Yes, exactly.
all the
Well, yeah, if
time.
you're going to be a business owner, you got to be flexible. You got to be ready for change. But that's the beauty of being a small business owner. You're more flexible than these huge corporations.
Totally. You got to be able to think on your feet because nothing
Yes.
happens consistently every day. So tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call us 678-476-6666, or they can go to the website, wemoveseniors.com.
Awesome. Well, what would you, as we wind down, what would be the one thing that you want our viewers to take home from our podcast today?
To take home from the podcast today, don't limit yourself on what you can do, because even with my guys, I tell them, yeah, you're here for a job, you have to support your family, but I want to see you start your own business and be independent and be an entrepreneur. So figure out what it is that you want to do. Be independent, don't be dependent. So make it happen.
That is so good. I love that. I love that. We're going to have to make that into a soundbite right there. Good. So, Adrienne, thank you very much for being a guest on our podcast. And I want to encourage our viewers, share this with people in your community. I know my experience with moving was not the most positive one. And you want somebody that cares, and you want somebody that has a heart for seniors, because it's totally different than moving other places and houses and all. It does take a special skill set that I think, unless you're not devoted to it, you don't understand it. And you have to, because that's just a different stage of life.
Right.
So,
Seniors don't move because they want to, they move because they have to. So it brings all kinds of emotions and drama. I could tell you all kinds of drama stories, but I won't into the process.
awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for Friday afternoon and being with us on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Pete.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Bye now.
Bye.